When the government launched its changes to the Apprenticeship Programme, one of the key parts of those changes was to introduce new standards. We currently have a number of frameworks that have been put together by employers and training providers over a number of years, but they wanted to refresh those standards and get employers more involved in developing a new set of standards. And we were very encouraged by that, because we think it should be driven by employers, and we worked with a number of employers on some of those groups. The first groups were called Trailblazer groups, and they developed a number of standards, including standards in the digital sector that we're involved in. The main difference between the standards and the old frameworks is that there is more flexibility in what we can deliver within those new standards. And it means that quite a lot of the assessment that we're doing has to change and become much more mentoring and coaching rather than just assessing the evidence of that progress through the framework. Now clearly we will need to track the progress of all of our learners through the new standards as well, but much more of what we're doing will be helping and coaching and training those people through to what is now a change of emphasis from assessing the work on the way through the programme to assessing the work at the end of the programme. So as part of the new standards, they've introduced what we call an end-point assessment, which brings together all of the learning that the apprentice has been through and puts them through some tests at the end of that process, so that the employer and us know that they're competent and they've completed their programmes. So the new standards will all have what we call an endpoint assessment, and that can be made up in different ways, and there will be a different endpoint assessment for each of the standards that we're involved in. And the endpoint assessment can be an exam, a multi-choice exam. It will also include some sort of project work that brings all of the learning together, and it can involve an interview scenario where the apprentice takes a panel of people through all the work that they've done during their apprenticeship. So what it's trying to do is bring all of the learning together, and we will be involved in making sure they're ready for that sort of end examination, which will be different for each of the standards. So we will still have a very important part to play, but we'll work with an independent endpoint assessment company to make sure that they get a fair and they're prepared for that endpoint assessment.